All right, here we are. Zolga and Declan Goff, Judd's Hockey Show late night edition, post playoff game. Wild lose 3-1 to the Vegas Golden Knights tonight. Plenty to get to, plenty of thoughts. We, of course, would like to hear from you. But before we do that, Declan, I'm going to pull out a beverage choice.
Oh, what do you got there?
I got what you had on Sunday.
A little furious.
Furious.
Losses are going with the tequila. I gotta go with I after what just the hell happened in the last 30 minutes of that game, and the Twitter mentions and everything I'm seeing right now. I needed something a little harder as we burn the midnight oil here. Oh, look, and pouring into the glass. Veteran play. It's a strong IPA, so I kind of respect it, but very good call to pour a nice beer like that in the glass. But for me, a tequila on a rock with just a squirt of lime, I need something hard to get over this one.
And Sports Sun, that's how you pour a beer. I mean, the head's not perfect, but it's also not the big one, and it could have been.
Hey, I went to St. Cloud State. We know how to pour our beer. We don't know a lot of things. I know how to pour my beer.
You got a PhD in pouring beer.
Sometime here, I'll show you I'll show you my IPA pour, and we'll get after that.
Let's get to our thoughts on tonight's tilt. Before we do, why don't you tell people, if they want to, how they can get involved as they begin to get into the room, if they'd like to get in and weigh in about tonight's game, how they can do that.
Yeah, if you guys want to join the show, please, if you got takes on this show or on this game that you want to express to me and Judd and vent over, this is going to be your show. Shoot me an email, vikingsventline@gmail.com. It's scrolling on the screen right there. I'll put you in queue. I don't know how many guests we'll get. Judd and I obviously have some thoughts in this game, but if you have thoughts, please shoot me an email. You want to come on the screen, and we'll see your comments as well, but send me an email, vikingsventline@gmail.com.
Thought number one off tonight's game. I was in no way, shape, or form disappointed. I thought that was a fantastic hockey game. The Wild, unlike Sunday, came out absolutely flying. Marc-Andre Fleury, again, was lights out. If you had told me that the storyline from the first two games was going to be a split, that the Wild actually would play, I thought, probably a more complete game in game two than they did in game one, because I mean, they did not show up. Cam Talbot did, but the Wild did not show up, Declan Goff, until the second period on Sunday. Tonight, they came out flying. The difference was the fact that the flower was absolutely fantastic. Kevin Fiala, your guy tonight. And yes, I understand that he and Johansson on Alex Tuck's, remember that name? I understand that he and Johansson on that goal, which gave the Golden Knights a 2-1 lead, were standing there, and that was not great. But Kevin Fiala had 8 shots on goal tonight. He continues to play on a line that I certainly don't love, but he grabbed that game by the you-know-what tonight and basically said, I am going to impact it. And he did not score, but he had 8 shots. I would say he had no fewer than 4 just golden scoring opportunities. He absolutely robbed by Marc-Andre Fleury a few times. But I really can't find a lot of fault here. And if I'm the Wild, privately at least, I'm coming away from these two games pretty damn thrilled.
Yeah, I mean, all things considered, my doomsday scenario did not come true today. I told you on the preview show that I thought the Wild would be waxed tonight. Yep. Judging by the first 20 minutes, I thought this was going to be the Wild's game. To Kevin Fiala's credit, me being the warden of the Kevin Fiala fan club, I am the warden because I'm not the president. I was not elected. I am not a mayor. I am not a chairman.
You're a dictator.
I was not appointed.
You've appointed yourself.
I've appointed myself as the warden in this jail that is the state of hockey, and I am watching everyone who just trashes Kevin Fiala for boneheaded penalties and turnovers in the regular season against games against the Ducks and Kings. And then he comes out tonight ready to play, and I absolutely love it. He's got 2 anchors in Victor Rask and Marcus Johansson dragging him down the whole bleeping game, and he still winds up with 7 shots on net and nearly single-handedly took over the game for the Wild. Cam Talbot was fantastic, but yes, what I don't get is if Fiala's rolling, why are we just we have to play Johansson and Rask with them just because it's their line mates? We have to keep doing that. It's beyond frustrating, Judd. It's beyond frustrating, and it's why I got as Brad Childress says, a vodka the size of your head. Yep, I got a tequila the size of your head right now, trying to comprehend it.
Okay, so here's my question, and I'd be curious to have people weigh in on this as well, because I know what your response is. But it's really clear that Dean gets his lines, and like he will juggle them, okay? But I am curious what people think. Down by 1 in the third, Vegas is a very good team. So to your point, this is not coming back against the Ducks or something, right? Oh, third period comeback against the Ducks or the Kings. You're like, okay, big deal. I'm curious if people were surprised that it took until Talbot was pulled to, at even strength, have Fiala and Kaprizov on the ice together, because we talked about that on the previous show as well this morning or this afternoon, Declan Goff. And, this was pretty much the situation that we talked about. And you said, because you thought that they were going to get blown out, but I asked you flat out. I said, if they are down by a goal or two in the third period, do you make sure that you find a way, even strength, 5-on-5, to get 22 and 97 on the ice at the same time? And you said, absolutely, they have to. And they did not. They did not. So I'd be curious if people would second guess Dean, because he put Kaprizov on the fourth line at one point early in the third and took Sturm off and had Bonino at center and Bukestad on the right wing. And I understand the desire to get Kaprizov more ice time, and I actually applaud that. But that's a long way away from going, let's go firepower. Because if you got 22 and 97 out there, and I don't know, with Hartman, or I don't even know, but if you got them out there together, that is a firepower line, which would be fun to see. I don't know if it would work, but it would certainly give you a chance to absolutely blitz a team like the Golden Knights. So we talked about it. It pretty much came to fruition of how it could have happened, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, there was a golden opportunity to try to do it, and I don't understand if you're going to double shift Kaprizov, which I'm all for. By the way, in the situations where you're down a goal, you have to double shift your best player. Why are we double shifting him on the fourth line? Why are we surrounding him with Nick Bonino and Nick Bukestad? I don't think that's the best of its ability. Take off one of the wings on Johansson, and to be honest, Judd, we'll talk about this later. We got some fans who are piling up. By the way, thank you. We got fans piling up here who want to get on the show. We'll get you on here in a couple minutes here, and if you want to join the show, shoot me an email. Vikings.
Sit back and listen and drink my Surly while they talk.
Exactly. If you want to get in on the show, send me an email, vikingsventline@gmail.com. I'll put you in queue here. This could be a talker that we get into maybe later in this show and possibly on Mackie and Joe tomorrow on Score North is, do you put Zach Parise back in the lineup for Ryan Johansson? Because I saw tweets about this, and I saw thoughts about this from friends as well. I'm curious to see if that is a move that is made.
I have really mixed feelings about this because I see where you're coming from, and I get the people's point on this, and I know that they like Zach. Marcus Johansson has more speed than Zach, but Zach can do different things. I'm torn. I guess here's my question. If Zach if Zach is back in and he plays just a very small role, is Zach cool with that? Because if he is, I don't know what goes on behind the scenes here, right, Dex? We don't know about that. And if Zach plays, a very small portion of the game in a very small role, are things fine? Is that a problem? So that's where I guess I would have some questions about the actual fallout internally from how Zach is used. And if the fallout's going to be nothing, I consider it. But I'll go back to the most confusing thing to me. I'm sorry, Bill Guerin. I love you. You've done a great job, and you can defend him all you want. Dean Evison, same exact thing. But when I watch Victor Rask out there in the speed of this series, I understand you feel you don't have options, but he's just behind the play constantly. There was right. I saw on TV today, I saw another 2 or 3 times where there were plays developing, and he just can't. And it's not his fault. I mean, it would be like throwing you out there. You just can't keep up. So I don't know what the answer is, but I guess the comeback of people who say to me, "We'll play Parise," and I'm like, I'm not sure about that. They'd say they're playing Rask, and I would tell you you're potentially right. But yeah, does Marcus Johansson bring a lot? Absolutely not. Is that disappointing? Yes, that's very disappointing. The issue, though, is he's a third line guy, and I don't know why I want Zach tried to play at the third line. You do have to take it into account the slower you get. Now, if you got Rask playing and Parise playing, and the slower you get, it begins to take a toll.
Right.
Just keep in mind, Johansson can keep up, and I know that's a very, that sounds like, well, of course he can. He's a pro player, but Zach can't keep up now, and so it would have to be the intangibles that Zach would bring. And this series, God bless it, seems to be going often at a breakneck speed, which I love. So,
All right, my friend.
I'm on the fence. But yeah, let's get to
Should we bring some fans in here?
Let's get to the fans, and I will get to the Furious.
So again, this is Wild Vent Line / Judd's Hockey Show right now on Score North MN. If you're new to us, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. We'll be doing these after every playoff game. We'll have other wild takes from Mackie and Judd and myself on that YouTube channel and on our podcast feed, Judd's Hockey Show and Mackie and Judd. And if you want to get on the show, send me an email, vikingsventline@gmail.com. This is the only Wild post-game show in town where we actually bring you on the screen. We'd love to have you on. So let's kick things off. He was the first guy to email me. Let's bring on Michael. Michael, what's going on, dude? Welcome to Judd's Hockey Show, Wild Vent Line. How you doing,
Michael?
How's it going, guys?
Fun game.
Yeah.
Tough loss, but a fun game to watch. Loved it.
I think to Judd's point, the biggest thing with tonight's game is you really can't be mad. I think we stole a game, won, and we were better this game. But, long term, this is the most fun Wild team I've seen in so long. I was texting my girlfriend tonight about that. Like, this team just – and to your point of, I would say Parise needs to show up a lot more. He just wasn't there tonight. And I don't know if, he was tired or what, but it just seemed like, even the announcers kind of talked about that. He just wasn't there.
So I think the problem to saying that is this. I don't think he's tired. I think the problem is that the last game that these two teams played at the X on May 5th, the Golden Knights tried to rough Kirill up, and Kirill's like, bleep that, and he came back at them, scored 2 goals, played great. And the message there was, if you're going to try that stuff with me, it's not going to work. But keep in mind here, and I think the Golden Knights took a page from this playbook, because I think there's certain things that they took a page from in the first 2 games from the Blues playbook. The Blues have done a pretty good job against Kaprizov, and they don't rough him up. Like, they don't try and tick him off, but they do subtle things to slow him down. And it felt like, and I couldn't see like the entire ice because obviously we watched on TV tonight, but it felt like the Golden Knights were doing subtle things to just slow him up.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the trade-off was, and this is the positive, and I mean, this guy came as close to scoring as you possibly can. Kevin Fiala was a monster.
Yeah, I mean, think of the cheap shot. What's his
Pietrangelo.
Yeah.
It just seemed like they were out to get Parise at any time they possibly could.
Absolutely. But your point's a great point. This was, and this is what I love, this was a fun game. Like, I'm not sitting here ticked off about effort or a team choking. There's none of that crap. This team came out and played hard. And look, it's hockey. The key, the starting point for this discussion is Marc-Andre Fleury won game 2.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, think period 1, we could have had 2 or 3 goals, and he just made every save that possible. I mean, the power play and every shot just seemed like he was able to make the save. And I mean, he, like Cam played in game 1. He played his he was the better goalie tonight, and in hockey, sometimes that's what it comes down to.
He played his ass off, and you're exactly correct. Thank you, man. Great stuff.
Thanks for having me.
You take care, of course.
Appreciate you,
Have a good
Michael.
night.
Yeah. To his point about Kaprizov maybe not showing up a little bit, I will say he was definitely held in check a little bit more tonight. I know he got called for the trip, and by the way, look, I know it's playoff hockey. Things get put away in the whistles. That's a textbook trip.
Oh yeah,
it's under a minute to go. Things are heightened. That is a textbook trip. Clear as day. They're going to call that. I know it sucks that it happens right in the heart of the game when you're down a goal. That is as clear as a trip as you're ever going to see. Any hockey fan any non-hockey fan who watches that game says that, I mean, if there's penalties in this game that involve tripping, is that not tripping? That's 100% tripping. It stinks. I get that. But yeah, if you're in an opposition team, you have to shut down Kaprizov. Can we figure out a way to beat you after that? It's what happened tonight. Kaprizov was held in check.
And that's going to be an issue at times, for sure. But the question is then, can you get other guys to step up? And here's where I will credit them. Fiala did, and you know who else did, Dex? Matthew Dumba.
Great game.
As I said, I think on Sunday, if you hold him to the defensive standard that you hold Brodeen and Spurgeon and Suter still, who's playing well, and Cole and even to a certain degree, Susie, okay? He's not those guys. He's not going to be as perfect. He's going to make some bad passes. He's going to make some bad plays. He just is. But Matthew Dumba tonight did everything that you want him to do as far as the opportunities of he got the puck, he shot it. He scored once, but he took several shots. He blocked shots. I mean, Matthew Dumba played for him an outstanding game. Like, that's what 100%. You want. Because guess what? That shot is better than anyone else on the blue line. So you did get, and that's why I'm not complaining. Kaprizov didn't play a great game. Kaprizov was held in check. That's going to happen. The question is, do other guys emerge? And they did. And I'll go back to what I said before. Marc-Andre Fleury won that game, and it's going to happen. Cam Talbot won game 1. Marc-Andre Fleury won game 2. It's hockey, but here's the reason why the Blues series was frustrating. Jake Allen won games, but you know who didn't drive to the net? You know who didn't try and get greasy goals? You know who didn't try and get rebounds? The Wild.
The rest of the team, yeah.
Did you see the first period tonight? They were all over rebounds and opportunities, and they didn't score. But it's not for a lack of effort, which has been my problem was my problem with the previous incarnation of this team.
No, they had a bunch of high danger chances. That's exactly what they wanted to be. And even quickly here, and we'll get another string of guests in here who are lined up. This is awesome. We almost got a full room in here with Wild fans. If you guys want to get in on the show and you're watching this for the first time, we're Judd's Hockey Show. We're on Score North MN. Shoot me an email, VikingsVentline@gmail.com. It's ticking on the cross bottom of the screen right there if you have Wild takes. But same thing about Matt Dumba. Matt Dumba had a rough game 1. We said it on our preview show. Can you go out there and just start firing pucks from the top of the point? And he fired plenty of opportunities and plenty of shots. You needed him to have a very, very big game tonight, and he absolutely delivered. He absolutely delivered. Let's get to our next guest here. Let's go to, is it Jax? Jax, what's up, dude?
How you guys doing?
Good, man. Are you outside right now? You taking a little stroll? What's going on?
No, I actually work the night shift, so I'm actually driving home. I'm being safe, though. Don't worry, guys.
Okay. I respect it.
Yeah.
I respect it.
Yeah, I just wanted to know what you guys thought of Jordan Greenway. I know that we've been talking about him maturing over the years, and especially last game, and today he seemed to be doing a lot better stuff, especially compared to the previous years.
Jax, I thought tonight he again did the same exact thing that he did in game 1, which is he was noticeable. He, in my notes, in fact, I've got it written down right here at 15:09 of the second period. He had a hit on Stevenson while Greenway had the puck. So he has the puck. Stevenson is trying to check him off the puck, and Greenway with his body literally spikes Stevenson to the ice. This is what you want. Like, he's not going to be – it's not like he's going to score a string of great, nice goals, right?
Yep.
But my frustration with him previously has always been I notice Foligno, I notice Eck, and I don't see you. And tonight, I think he also had a big hit on or with Reeves. I think these first 2 games, Jordan Greenway has played the exact role that he needs to play to be an effective player, and that is, you notice, 18, because he has the physical presence and the strength to be that guy.
I agree. I appreciate you guys having me on the show. I'll kind of leave with that, but I came for you guys to watch Vikings takes a long time ago, and you guys talk about the Wild, and I love everything you guys do. I hope to be on the show again soon.
Hey, Jax,
Thanks,
appreciate you, man. Thank you. Drive safe. Drive safe. Thank you, man.
Drive carefully. Keep those eyes on the road.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we also do Vikings Ventline on our Purple Daily channel. We do Wolves and Vikings and Twins talk. Well, a lot of therapeutic Twins talk. We'll save those takes, I believe, for tomorrow. I think there will be some takes tomorrow on Mackie and Joe, which you can find on Apple, Spotify, and ScoreNorth.com. Should we continue rolling through here?
Keep
going through?
Yep.
All right, let's go to our next guest. Let's go to Gibby here. Gibby, what's up, dude? Welcome to Wild Ventline.
What's
Gibby?
up, guys? I think we got to keep this in perspective. Every single Wild fan would have taken a 1-1 series, going back to Minnesota, best of 5, with home ice. You could say the Wild have outplayed the Knights 4 out of 6 periods so far. It was basically a reversed script of game 1. The team that comes out firing in the first period can't get a goal on the board. It ends up being close all night long. And then I guess the same thing is that Fleury in both games just brought it. And I'm actually at the point where I think if Fleury plays like this the whole series, the Wild aren't going to win, and I'm almost okay with that. I mean, if he's going to play like this for 7 games, there's really not much you can do about it. You got to think the dam's going to break eventually.
Yeah. But here's the thing too, though. Don't give up on Talbot. I mean, Talbot played a pretty good game. That second goal, it was tough because if he controls Petrangelo's shot from the right wing side, then the puck doesn't go behind the net. It doesn't get fed out front to Tuck, but that was not his fault once it got fed out front. The forwards had to back check there, and they didn't. But don't dismiss Talbot's ability to win another game or two, because this is what I've been talking about. This is the difference. You're talking like a little bit like the old Dubnyk days where we're like, well, if your goaltender plays that well, the Wild's got no chance. And I just want to emphasize how different I think this team is. So I'm not going to be surprised if Talbot steals another game or two. I don't think he's going to steal the entire series, but I mean, this could be a tennis match of back and forth between the goaltenders for a few games here. So I'm not convinced it's going to continue to be just all Fleury, because Talbot, to his credit, he won, the first game.
I totally agree with you there. I'm more saying that I think if Fleury goes all 7 games without giving up one soft goal,
oh yeah, it's not going to happen.
That gets tough, right? You need there to be a game or two where he gives up some wrister or something like that. 1 or 2 quick observations here before I jump off.
Of course.
I tried to, like Sean Freud, listening to the Knights reaction podcast after game 1. Lindsay was the only podcast I could find the night after putting in the work and actually doing an immediate reaction. I guess all of the other Vegas beat writers are lazy. It makes me appreciate what you guys do a little more, just literally having the content up immediately. So that's impressive. Also, Lindsay's awesome. I'd never listened to her before. Wow, does she have energy?
Yeah.
I think it's understandable. Yeah.
2, this is for Sports Dad. And I got to wag my finger at Sports Dad here.
Yeah.
Right there.
I see it coming, yeah.
All right, Sports Dad, how many games do you predict the Twins to win this year?
Well, let's see. I previously said
the question.
96. I think they're going to win.
How many games have you predicted the Vikings to win this year? Because they had a good first and third round draft pick. What are you doing? You know better. 11-6.
11-6. Here's why.
You know better, Sports Dad.
Gibby. Here's the key thing. Revamp defense, offensive line that should be improved. Your skill position guys are good. And look, Kirk Cousins, prove it to me now. I'm putting you on 11 wins, Kirk Cousins. You're on notice. Prove it to me now.
I thought the Twins were going to win 100 games too.
Gibby,
come on.
Gibby, a small Sports Dad trick. Apply the pressure to prominent players, and then if they fail, it's not your bad prediction; it's their failure.
That's right.
I respect that. I'm hoping for 11-6 too. Schedule looks tough. The one thing is, one Thielen or Jefferson injury in the season is completely derailed. You need a third wide receiver, veteran wide receiver. I know I already derailed this, but
okay, Gibby, it's late at night.
Yeah, exactly. After midnight, anything goes. So, let's just win game 3.
That's right, man.
Do
awesome.
it.
Awesome.
Exactly.
Great
Cheers.
stuff.
Gibby, great stuff, brother. Appreciate you, dude. Appreciate you. Cheers to you. Cheers to you. Absolutely.
Right back at you.
Absolutely.
Let's keep them going, Deck. We got people.
It's pretty good. Yeah, I can take another sip here as I get ready for the next.
Well, I did not mean to derail your sip.
If other Wild fans want to get in here, we've had a nice little string of them. Send me an email, VikingsVentline@gmail.com. I'll put you in queue and we can get you on here. Let's go to my guy Zach, who's rocking the long hair, the dollar bill Kirill shirt. I absolutely love it, man. What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I just had 3 main takeaways from tonight's game, and it was pretty much just. One, Fleury stole the game. There's no doubt about that. I mean, we had good chances, but that's what brings me to my second point. We need to fix Fiala's line. He can't. I mean, Kaprizov on his line, it's reverse role, because Kaprizov, I can't tell you how mad I get watching him set up those guys consistently, one after another, and then you see it, third period. He shoots the puck because he knows that they're not going to get the puck. They're not going to get in the net. I'm not saying they're bad players. They're better than Rask, that's for sure. But Fiala deserves better than Rask. And I think if you get Sturm on that line, I think we're going to have some really, really good opportunities on that line.
He benched Sturm though. So when Kaprizov went to the fourth line, he took Bonino took him from the wing to center, left Bukestad at the right wing, and benched Sturm. So I don't know what the problem I have with the Sturm thing is. I get he's young and I get he makes mistakes. I'm sure he makes mistakes that drive coaches crazy that we don't see. I get that. But that being said, to your point, with his speed and abilities, I just feel like he gives you a dynamic that you don't have. And I mean, God bless Bukestad. He works his butt off, and Bonino's a leader and does too. But I totally get your point. And Dex and I have talked about the exact same thing, and it never really seems to happen.
Yeah, I mean, just Fiala, he's never going to get that. He's not Kaprizov. He can't take that puck and do it all by himself. He needs that setup. And when he had that setup with Rask, I think it was with Rask, it was a cross, and Rask hit the bar. Rask, I'm not saying that he's not good enough, but there's other players that are good enough to chip that puck in. He just waited a hair too long, and if that was roles reversed, Fiala would have had the skill to just chip that right up.
That's correct. I agree with that completely. Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right, and they just won't do it. And then the question comes also, third period, would you have made sure the 22 and 97 were playing together at some point in time? Because I mean, that would give you a line that was just a huge threat. And I don't know how the Golden Knights would defend it completely. I'd be very curious to see that. So I would sort of force their hand, or I would have forced their hand. It's become too predictable that unless it's the power play or the goaltender's pulled, they're not going to do that. And I think in a playoff series, it's probably it would be a pretty nice option to unveil something that they didn't know was coming.
I think it's hard to stack a line like that because you know that those are your two best goal scorers, but then you have your secret weapon, Eriksson Ek. I mean, really, that's the only way to really get a goal against Fleury is just dirty goals. I mean, we've seen it all season long against the Golden Knights. And so I think, you definitely moving forward need to see some line changes. I think the Foligno Greenway line is a great line. I don't think you change that. I just think you make a couple small changes elsewhere, and I'm pumped to go to Game 4, and we'll see it then.
Love it.
Have fun, man.
Hell yeah,
it's going to be a lot of fun there. That's going to be great. Playoff hockey in person is the best.
The best.
We've gone to 4 games so far this season. This is going to be my first playoff game ever. So
hell yeah, dude.
Have fun.
Enjoy it, man. Yeah. Enjoy it. Love it. Zach, thank you, dude.
Thanks, Zach. Take
appreciate
care.
you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting.
Really appreciate that.
Yeah, to his point too, about Fiala. It's something that you and I have been hammering on, that Fiala can't do it by himself. Like Fiala tonight was the perfect example, Judd, of him trying his absolute hardest, wanting it so bad, doing everything he could. And look, Marc-Andre Fleury is a damn good goaltender, so that's one thing. Another one.
Hold on.
Correct. Yeah. Oh, the sound of sweet release there. You got one of those IPAs down that quickly? I mean, my God, good for you.
Oh, it's late at night. I can definitely. You know what? I did not drink one the entire game so that I could have a couple during the show.
Good for you. But to our point about Fiala, he needs help. If you're looking for a center to get, it's not necessarily that he'll be de facto placed with Kaprizov. It's
Correct.
to help Fiala. It's to 100% help Fiala. I'm not saying also you couldn't find someone to help Kaprizov's game more too, because Ryan Hartman is probably not necessarily the best, most suited center to be with Kirill Kaprizov, but Kaprizov makes Ryan Hartman better. You need someone to make Kevin Fiala's game go to the next level.
Can you imagine if you had two guys, and let's say one is very good, but if you had two centers other than Ek that you could just consistently play with Kaprizov and Fiala, who could get them the puck, who knew. I mean, the thing with Rask is he's too slow, and Hartman, again, God bless him, he works his butt off. But I mean, he's really a wing who's trying to play center, and you know what? Ultimately, he could probably be on a really good team, a fourth line center, because he's responsible. He knows what to do. I get all of that, but that's where I'm hopeful about this whole thing too, because you don't have those guys yet, and if you get Rossi here and one more guy who can, he doesn't have to be a star, but just to have a solid guy there, you're talking about a playoff team that's really damn good. Like, I think that this team is good, and I think that they're doing the right things, and I love how hard they work, but I don't see them making a deep run with their current depth chart, especially at center. So that's what makes you excited about the potential of this team, is if you get this right next season, like, this goes to a team that could definitely make a run.
100%. Let's keep them rolling here on Wild Vet Line after the Minnesota Wild fell 3-1. Was it 3-1?
3-1. Empty
3-1.
Alex
game
Tuch
2
scores twice. Former
Oh, God.
That's the Minnesota sports thing for tonight. The Minnesota sports thing for tonight is it couldn't be Marsha Show, or, it couldn't
Right.
be
No.
Stone. Alex Tuch, who you lost, had to score twice.
I love that guy too. I thought when they traded him away was the biggest mistake, and now he's that ex that invites me to his own wedding, and I have to watch him
Dude,
get
you know
married.
what he is? He's a really good Charlie Coyle.
Yeah.
Like, they thought that they had
want
that in Coyle.
I don't even want to hear he's a really good Charlie Coyle. He's
really
just a really
good
good player. I don't even want
Oh,
I don't
no,
want to hear the
but
Charlie
I'm
Coyle
saying
comparison.
they protected Charlie Coyle because they thought that he was ultimately going to
You're
be
right, though.
better than Tuch.
I hear you. All right, let's keep it rolling. Let's go to Tyler. I think Tyler, you're the one that's in Hawaii that emailed me, man?
Yeah. What's up?
What is up, dude?
Hawaii?
First off, what's the temperature and what time is it over there?
It is 7:22 and it's probably about 70 degrees.
That sounds actually it's been nice here finally, but still that sounds a lot more
70
heavenlier.
degrees, so nice and sort of coolish for you, but comfortable.
Yeah, I'm actually wearing a sweatshirt because I'm chilly. This is chilly here.
Yeah, okay. Makes sense.
But
What's going on?
Nothing much. Just wanted to talk about, I think we need some net front presence, and I think we do need Parise in there. I know you guys have been hating on Parise lately, but we haven't been getting those second chances. We've been getting shots on net, but no second chances. I think we need somebody greasy in the front who can get it in. What do y'all think about that?
I think that's fine if this all works. See, my whole point before to Dex was this. If Parise can play a very small role and he's comfortable in that role and everything behind the scenes is fine, I do it. I just don't know if there are internal factors that we don't know about that are weighing in this decision not to play him. So I get that. But the one thing that you have to keep in mind is this. If Parise plays, he can't keep up really. So like he's going to be a net front presence. I mean, he works. This is no rip on Zach. I mean, Zach's going to do what Zach has always tried to do. At one time, he did it, I think, at a star level. That time is long gone now. But I do think as far as greasy goals and things, he would give you a chance. But as far as getting back and as far as the pace of play here, the issue there is he can't keep up. So like there's going to be potentially good and bad. I mean, I will say this, Johansson can keep up. I don't love him. I think he could do a lot more. There's games where I see him playing. There's games where I sort of don't. But he, skating wise, can keep up. Zach Parise, like Rask, is going to be 2 to 3 steps behind consistently.
And I hear y'all talking about Rask tonight too. If Rask is so slow, why not put Parise in there? Because nobody else is doing anything. You know,
Rask is a center.
So.
That's why.
Yeah, it's unfortunately why.
It's because he's a center. I mean, I honestly think deep down, if they felt that they had options there, Rask could be scratched, but they don't. And he can win faceoffs. So like he can do things that Parise simply just can't do because he's not trained to do them.
Yeah, I got you. One more thing. Do you think they call it Boldy or?
So I believe what was reported from Michael Russo that I believe all those Aces players were practicing at Tria this week, and then they'll be added to the taxi squad starting for Game 3. So they'll be, I believe, on the taxi squad roster starting for Game 3. Yes. I think it would probably take a lot, i.e. an injury or just simply backs against the wall move to probably bring up Boldy. Guerin said he didn't want to rush him. I personally would play him, man. I would personally play him in a heartbeat. I would like to see him up here.
Yeah, me too. I think we need that little extra edge if we want to make a run in these playoffs. But thank you all.
Thank you.
Be informed on Minnesota sports since I'm stationed over here. So
hey man,
awesome.
appreciate
you
your
very much.
service. Thank you, man.
No
yeah,
problem.
exactly right.
Thank you, Tyler. Yeah, man, it's tough.
I would play Boldy.
I would play Boldy in a heartbeat.
I'd flat out play him.
I'd play him.
In fact, I would rather see him promoted and playing in place of Johansson than Parise.
Yep.
I think he brings a dynamic. And I mean, look, here's the thing. Confidence in life is important. This guy has thrived everywhere he has played in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
He thrived in the college game. He thrived in the World Juniors. He thrived at Iowa. He is, I think he's the exact type of player. And I mean, look, long term too. I mean, this guy might be their Tuck. Like he could be. He's big enough. And the thing I love about his game, and I saw this because I watched all of the World Junior Tournament games he played in. Here's the thing I loved. He's a winger who plays like a center. He's got the Kaprizov, not the abilities, but he's got the Kaprizov ability, I guess is the right word, to facilitate decks.
Yep.
So like he can score goals, he can stand in front, he's a strong enough kid, but he also can make plays for you. And this team is lacking true centers, but because the game has changed now, and it's sort of going in the direction of basketball at times, where it's become a little bit more, not totally positionless, but a little bit more positionless. So if you take a Boldy or Kaprizov and they're setting guys up, I mean, what you need then? Finishers.
Absolutely.
And guess who can finish on this team? Kevin Fiala. Like, let's say you had Boldy. Like, let's say you just choose center A, whoever it is, but he's on a line with Boldy and Fiala, okay?
Love that.
If Boldy can feed Fiala and facilitate for Kevin, he's going to score eventually here. Like he had eight shots on goal tonight. I mean, eventually those are going to go in, and Marc-Andre Fleury is not going to play every game like this.
No, I agree. No. Let's keep them rolling here. We got a few more guests lined up. And if you guys want to get in, shoot me an email, vikingsventline@gmail.com. I'll put you in queue here. Let's go to Jack. Jack, my man, are you there? Are you around?
Judd, you're so cute. I tie you down.
All right, we're gonna remove Jack. I don't know what the hell.
What happened to Jack?
That was a little weird.
I sort of,
but
we're
on YouTube, so we're a little more safer with weird things happening.
I was gonna say it's really not that big a deal.
But and then he bailed. That was kind of unfortunate.
Well, he also didn't show himself. And my favorite is he put in a comment at 12:23 saying,
"Put you in,
let me in, Declan."
Yeah.
And then he came in. Yeah, that
was strange. Well, that's a great transition.
Do you know what this is, Dex? It's a late night YouTube show.
Yeah, it is. It is a late night.
Frivolity ensues.
Yeah, man. I got you. Let's keep it rolling. All right, Nick, I don't think you can top that. I know what the hell you saw either, but by all means, welcome to Wild Vent Line.
And Nick, if you think I'm cute, that's fine too, okay?
How do I go up after that? I mean,
well, I think you start by complimenting me and then just go to Declan next.
Sorry, Declan. Whew, you're looking like a snack tonight. Is that good?
Appreciate you.
It's got the great hair. Okay, you got to admit that.
So, I mean, my observation from tonight is, and going forward, can Dean really make an adjustment with Johansson and Rask? I mean, I watched tonight, and oh my god, I was done watching those two play. Could they put in Zach and move him to the fourth, try and move up Sturm? I know Evanson isn't a Sturm fan, but those two weren't very good tonight.
Declan and I talked about this on the preview show today, and I mean it's weird because the whole thing with Rask, I mean, the speed of this series is great. It's phenomenal to watch, right? Like it's a lot of fun, and it's two seemingly really evenly matched teams. And what you just said makes perfect sense, and it seems like they don't want to. The only thing I can think of with Sturm is that they are afraid if they give him too much that he's going to fail. Like they're going to set him up, and they somehow see Rask as this solid. And you know what? He probably is. He probably understands his defensive assignment way more than Sturm could. But that being said, what you just said is absolutely correct, which is he's a step behind. And Johansson frustrates me. I think there's more there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, like, this is the playoffs. Greenway's come out in these two games and it's played great. And it's like, right. But I mean, that's how he should play. Yeah. Johansson, to me, like, he's a playoff veteran. He's been in Stanley Cup finals before. Why aren't we seeing more there? Because I have seen him when he pushes himself. Dex did too. I'm not saying he's great, but he can be pretty good and certainly effective. And tonight I was really disappointed because you didn't really see him, and I don't get why. And that's where the Parise talk is going to come in about should Zach play over Johansson, and that's where I'm on the how about Matthew Boldy bandwagon.
I mean, I agree with you there. Oh God. Sorry.
It's late at night. Don't worry about
beer
it.
down, or was it a beer down?
No.
Are we a beverage down? Are you okay?
Just my phone. Just my
Okay.
phone.
Okay.
Okay.
But I don't think Guerin has the guts, nor does he want to push Boldy up because, I mean, we're Wild fans. We're hoping for something, and if he doesn't impress us, we get down very fast. But I mean,
But Garrett's won Stanley Cups. I don't think he cares what we think. He either truly doesn't think that Boldy is set to play, because I don't think he thinks like we think. Like, I get exactly what you're saying there.
Mhm.
You know, because we're Minnesota sports fans. We always are waiting for the next shoe to drop. We're conditioned not to expect to win. Bill Guerin's won four cups, 2 as a player, 2 as an executive with the Penguins. I don't think he gives a crap what we think, but there's definitely something at play here. And I guess ultimately the most confusing thing to me is the Rask thing. That really does get me.
I still don't understand. I mean, Sturm, sure, if he's a defensive liability, that's totally fair. But we're now 2 games in and you've scored 2 goals. And Rask isn't an offensive player. I mean, wide open net, you hit crossbar. That's just what kills you. And then they go down the other way and they score almost. I mean, I don't get it, but that's just me. What do I know?
Well, you know plenty. I don't think you're wrong.
No, man.
That's the way. Well, and I do think that is something. That's why there's, and this is actually good news. That's why there's a next step to take here.
Mm-hmm. A
year from now, if things go as planned, this conversation's dead. We're not going to be having it. Victor Rask won't be a factor.
That's true.
And I do love the fact that this team has transitioned where it feels completely different. The games are fun. And right now we're not pounding the table and saying, where was the net front presence at all? They didn't try. They didn't do this. They didn't do that. I mean, that was the Wild playoff story for years. And at least that seems to be gone. So, but great points.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hey, Nick, appreciate
Pick
you.
that phone up.
Thanks
Pick
for
that
coming
phone
on.
up.
Pick that phone up.
Will do.
Crack another beer.
Yeah.
Do what you want to do. Thank you, man. Yeah, it's it is frustrating watching Victor Rask continue to get run. You know, Kevin Fiala. The reason Kevin Fiala was so dominant tonight, Judd, was because it wasn't because his line mates are helping him. It was because Kevin Fiala literally took the game in his own hands and said, I'm going to take things over. Right? Johansson and Victor Rask, like, I don't know how you could sit there and watch that game and say, man, Johansson and Rask are helping out Fiala tonight. No. Kevin Fiala is here to play, and I'm dragging along the 2 kids through Disneyland trying to do my best to get on every ride I possibly can.
Yes.
That was what it was like.
He took a page from the Kaprizov playbook at Kaprizov's best, which is, I am going to take the puck, I am going to make plays, and if I can, I will shoot. Which, you know what? He has to, but he had 8 shots. And aside from the second goal, which he probably could have done more on the back check, he had a really good game. But I don't think it's his game to try and facilitate for himself that much.
I hear you.
Like Kaprizov, I'm pretty sure that can be his game. I mean, Kaprizov's flat out a superstar. Kevin Fiala is a star at his best. He is a star player. And I think that there is a happy medium for what Kevin can do and what Kevin needs, and he's not getting that right now. And I guess my frustration a little bit, like, I'm not frustrated with the team, but my frustration a little bit in the conversation is it feels like you could try a couple things here tweak-wise that might make it possible for him to have more success right now.
I hear you. Let's we got a couple more guests here lined up, and by the way, we've had a great amount of guests here. This is awesome. Thank you so much for everyone for joining us. We're at vikingsbantline@gmail.com if you want to get in here. Let's get our next guest in here. Let's go with Jay. Jay, what's going on, man? You're on Wild Vent Line.
Hey, how you guys doing?
What's up?
Good, man. How are you?
Just had a few thoughts. First of talking about Fleury, obviously he's still in his head the first 2 games. No one can deny that. Where do you think we get to a point with him where he's standing on his head, or someone needs to eventually bury the puck?
I think it's going to change a little bit here. I think coming home, playing, and I know it's only going to be 4,500 fans, so it's not going to be full,
5,000 or so. Yeah.
But it's going to be loud. It's going to be loud.
Yeah.
I think playing here changes things dramatically. In fact, I think right now, I'm not going to predict Game 4, but I think Game 3, Wild wins. Fleury's going to continue to play well, but I urge people to realize this: Cam Talbot's playing well too. Like,
Correct.
The Dubnyk thing has conditioned us to just sort of assume that the goaltending's always on that side, right? Jake Allen's great, and Dubnyk's okay, but he's not great. I think it shifts a little bit in Game 3. I think the Wild scores 3 or 4 goals, and I think there's a good chance that we see a game like we did tonight, but the Wild wins. And I mean, but this guys is what's so important about the fact that Talbot won you Game 1.
Right.
Like this is where it's crucial that you have that your guy stands on his head sometimes too, because this easily could be 2-rip Vegas, because the Golden Knights in Game 1, that first period dominated, did exactly what the Wild did tonight in the first period. So I think it shifts, not that Fleury plays badly, but I think to what you're saying, it changes a little bit in Game 3 here on Thursday night.
Right. Yeah, I guess my point about that was just he's making some unbelievable saves, but then when you look at it again over replay, it's a lot of shots that these guys should be burying at some point, right? Mm-hmm. And it's eventually that line hits where it's Game 4 and we're not burying, and we're probably done with the series. So it's a hard kind of, what I'm saying? It's a hard line to draw.
Yeah. But Jay, didn't you feel in the first period tonight? I mean, the Flower was great,
fantastic.
But I did feel like the Wild was driving to the net and and he gave up rebounds. They couldn't bury him, but it wasn't for lack of being there. My problem with previous Wild teams is they literally weren't there. It's like they got the shot you're talking about, and there was a rebound, and inevitably, like, the Blues defenseman would pick it up and skate it out. Yeah. I don't feel like tonight was for a lack of effort of being there when rebounds were created. I could very easily see on Thursday night those chances being there, and Foligno or Greenway or Zuccarello buries it this time. So I still have a lot of hope for how they played tonight. And in fact, I think there's a case to be made that they did actually play a better game tonight than Sunday because of the fact they didn't really show up.
I think they for sure did.
Start the game. So
my last point, one more for you. Well, I'm just, hearing people talking about bringing Zach Parise back into the lineup. My one point on that is we've seen it all year. He can't skate with a team like Vegas. I think he likes to allow more opportunities, and he can potentially sit in front of the net and maybe get one knocked in.
Yes, and the problem too is he's got a big name. He's done some great things. He will work his butt off, but I don't think people realize how slow he's become until you actually play him now. And if he was in, I mean, this series is moving. Like there's no, well, I'm not very fast, but I can grab a guy. And by the way, in 2021, if you grab a guy, you're getting a penalty. Right. So yeah, that's where I think that this has to be weighed very carefully. And this goes back to why I'd be curious to see Boldy, because he's young and he can skate. And I'm not saying he won't make mistakes, but his style of play for what he brings certainly would fit a series like this more, because I think when the starting point is, well, I really can't keep up, that's really not a good starting point.
No, and we've seen Zach not be able to keep up against Vegas many times this year. The first time we played him in Vegas, the goal that allowed overtime.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's where I'm at with him. I'd love to see Boldy. I'm not sure it's going to happen, but thanks, guys, for having me on.
Thanks, Jay.
Hey, Jay. Thank you, man.
Yep.
Appreciate you, dude. Yeah, Judd, I mean, I bet he's in the lineup. I would wager he's in the lineup in Game 3. I would be pretty shocked if he isn't. I think he is. I think he's coming in.
I'm going to say he's not.
Okay.
I don't think I don't think these guys embrace making changes unless they think something is broken. And tonight's performance wasn't broken. They lost.
True.
Fleury beat them.
True.
But I don't look at that effort and say, well, it was sort of lacking. And I don't look at that effort and say it needs to be shaken up. And I think Dean will punish you and Dean will sit you if he thinks that you deserve it. Unless you're Rask, and then you ain't getting sad. So that's a different story. But I don't think Johansson is coming out because I don't think he played poorly enough to come out. I just know, and I think there's more to give. But I mean, I don't think these guys will tweak it unless they think it needs to be tweaked because of how somebody played. And I didn't see that tonight. They played a good game. I mean, that was a more complete game than Sunday because
that's a good point.
They had spurts tonight where they didn't play great, but there was no one period, Dex, where they didn't. And on Sunday, the entire first period, aside from Talbot, they didn't play that well.
I hear you. We have a couple more guests here on Wild Vent Line. Thank you to everyone for helping us out. If you're still in the room, you're watching, we have a few more minutes. If you like to get in, get some takes, shoot me an email, vikingsventline@gmail.com. And also, if you're new to us, hit our subscribe button on the Score North MN YouTube channel. And if you want some Vikings takes, because there were some Vikings Vent Line takes that came into this chat, hit us up on Purple Daily Podcast as well. We'll have plenty of Vikings stuff, Kellen Mond discussion, Kirk Cousins discussion. Write that down. Predictions coming up tomorrow on both Mackie and Judd.
It's going to come early, Declan. It's going to come early.
Daily. Speaking of Purple Daily, we got a veteran on Purple Daily coming on. Alex in Texas. He was on Sunday as well. He was on, I think, last week on Purple Daily. Might be our most used guest in this last week. You know what, Alex?
Hold on a second.
We might have to get in the payroll. Oh, a little Smirnoff Ice.
Oh, very nice.
Ice. Okay.
Is that an old school Atlanta Hawks hat?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
They are my basketball team. I grew up I told Declan the story once before, Vent Line before. I grew up in Florida. I was watching TV when I was like 5 or 6. I saw the Vikings on TV, and I'm like, those are the coolest helmets ever. So I have adopted all Minnesota sports teams for my favorite team except for the T-Wolves. That's mainly because the T-Wolves weren't around when I was younger. So the Hawks are the closest team to me. So,
that's awesome. So are you like a Mookie Blaylock, Dominique Wilkins age guy, or
I am Lou Hudson. I am the early '80s. We're talking Tree Rollins, Lou Hudson.
Oh, we're talking TBS Hawks games.
TBS Hawks in the
TBS Skip Carey.
Yeah.
Oh, they were Dex. This team was good.
About to say it's a little before my time.
Neek was unbelievable. I had a friend at Benilde who loved Neek, and that guy was a star. I mean, he wasn't Bird. He wasn't those guys, but he was right that next group. So that's an awesome. That's a great hat. The logo of the hat's fantastic.
I have the Wilkins jersey to go with it.
Hell yeah!
Oh, do you? Nice.
Yeah. Couple of things. There's a certain player in Buffalo that's not very happy about the way the team treated his injury. Mm-hmm. What about Rask in a second rounder, third rounder? I think that would be perfect for the Wild.
That's too much Smirnoff Ice right now that's talking. Do you know what the price of Jack Eichel would be?
Well,
Jack Eichel would cost you a ton.
Yeah. Well, the Wild, are we going to, typical Minnesota team, are we going to sit on our butt, or are we going to do what New York teams do and trade for a superstar to help them win a championship?
Depends on what they want, because you might have to give up star power as well. I think that they'll want Fiala.
They'd have to give up. You have to give up something to get him.
I would give them everything except for Kaprizov and Fiala, to be honest with you.
Because they'd want Rossi, which, you'd be flipping him for that. I'd be curious to see the price. I'll just put it that way, because, and here's the question too with Jack Eichel. Is Jack Eichel buried in Buffalo with a terrible team? And if he escapes, like Taylor Hall did this year, though, to Boston, is Jack Eichel going to thrive, or is Jack Eichel part of the problem in Buffalo? That I don't know.
Well, he is a superstar. They are mercurial, so.
No, you're right.
Another thing, I know we lost. I shouldn't be upset about the loss. I think it's more about the team that we lost to. In my opinion, I'm old school. To me, is an absolute joke that the Vegas is a contender for the Cup every year, and they're only been in the league for 4 years. It is an absolute joke. The Minnesota Wild spend millions and millions and millions, not this team, but other teams, developing a prospect, and the Vegas goes, I'll take him, I'll take him, I'll take him, and there ain't nothing you can. Did the Wild make a bad decision keeping Coyle? Yes, but when the Minnesota Wild came into the league, they didn't have nearly the same choices that. Well, Seattle's going to be in the same boat. Seattle's probably going to be good too. So I think my thing is, I used to hate other teams just because, I don't like Vancouver because, it's Vancouver. Sure. But right now, I'm at the point now where I don't care who wins the Cup as long as it's not Vegas.
The issue, my man, is this: the expansion fees. Seattle and Vegas paid huge fees and said, we want to be good right away. teams like the Blue Jackets and the Wild and those teams that came in didn't pay as much, and so their expansion drafts weren't good. The kicker to this entire story is this one: the Vegas Golden Knights aren't subject to this expansion draft. They don't have to
that's
catch
another
anybody.
thing. Yeah, that's another thing that pisses me off.
I know, but I mean, the league is these are literally cash grabs now, and they're enormous cash grabs. So I agree with everything that you just said. And I also know that the league does not care because every owner in this league gets an influx, a large influx of cash from first the Golden Knights and now the Kraken coming into the league.
Okay. And Victor Rask, we got to do something better than him. I mean, that was anybody else on the team, even Dumba, the Spurge, even Cole, anybody on the else on the team would have scored on that wide open pass that he got. He's way too slow. I think if he wasn't a center, I think if he was a winger, we wouldn't even be talking about him being on the ice. But I think we're so at depth.
I agree.
With center key. Yep. And if Rossi didn't get hurt, I wonder if he would be playing instead of Rask.
I think he would be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think he would be. Yeah. No, I mean, you're right. Yeah. If Rask was a right wing, we wouldn't be talking about this. This wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
So great stuff, man. Great hat.
Thanks, buddy.
Great talking.
Appreciate it. Love you. Like I said, you guys are awesome and appreciate every one of your shows.
Thank
you, man. So
appreciate you, Alex. Thank you for supporting, dude. Appreciate it. Let's keep rolling. We got a few more callers left. Let's go to Dylan. Been patiently waiting. Dylan, what's up, man? Welcome to the Event Line.
Yo, you guys are fun to watch. I'm always catching up on all your guys' shows.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Like I said in the chat, I don't know if you guys saw it. They're pretty unrealistic line combinations, but I mean, I don't know how you can justify keeping Rask in that situation and moving Sturm out of the rotation, as well as I feel like Susie and Cole are always together when Kirill is on the same or on the ice. Mm-hmm. It's why are we not putting Susie and Cole on with Eck in our fourth line, strictly, and then Dumba, Brodin with our higher skilled guys? I feel like we always end up tonight specifically, Kirill's line had no possession, and I feel like the defense did not do any justice on keeping the puck in the zone or maintaining possession or breakout passes or really anything. But I'd be interested to see the breakdown of how the ice minutes are spent. But
Dex, you got it
for the minutes at least.
Yeah, well, and possession too. Yeah, because it's a great point, and it didn't feel like the Hartman, Kaprizov, Zuccarello line did have great possession tonight.
Yeah, I feel
they're certainly capable of it.
Yeah, and they just I feel like they normally are our most possessive line that always has the puck.
Yes.
And I feel I don't know if tonight was an outlier, but it felt like Susie and Cole were on their line virtually the whole time. And when I don't know, I feel like you have to have Brodin or Dumba or Spurgeon or Suter on that line to keep it within the blue line, and I feel like both those lines pass way better than Susie and Cole.
So I can't confirm if Cole and Susie were on there a lot. I will say Cole and Susie possession-wise had a decent game. They both played also about 13 minutes tonight at least. And then Kaprizov, Hartman, Zuccarello, they were that second line basically. Greenway, Eck, and Hartman Greenway, Eck, and Foligno still led the lines with about 15 minutes, but. I mean, all three lines for the most part were rolled out very evenly outside of the fourth line. I mean, if anything, my crime is that Kevin Fiala finished with only 13 minutes of ice time tonight.
Oh man, that's 13. Wow,
13, and that is about middle of all the forwards. It felt like more because he was making such a big difference, and then that was also 5 on. All right, I will say that was 5 on 5. All things considered, he was actually 16 minutes up, so he was playing a little bit more on the power play and on the penalty kill, just trying to get him moving a little bit more. But you have to figure out a way to surround him with better players. You have to move him up to Kaprizov. You got to move him up to figure out a way that if Eck is taking a face-off, for God's sakes, I don't care. Put him out there with Eck. You got to do something to get him more ice time.
For sure. Well, appreciate you guys having me.
Awesome
stuff.
Man. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Dylan, appreciate you, dude. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Dex, can you find a possession time for the Hartman, Kaprizov, Zuccarello line?
Yeah, I have that up, I think, right here.
I'd be curious what that is.
So, and you said possession-wise for him?
Yeah, like Corsi and Fenwick.
Yeah, so Hartman, Kaprizov, Foligno here as I do a quick little math. So I will say Kaprizov ended up playing a little bit all shifts. I'm going to shift this down a little bit, do some math on the fly. So Kaprizov, Zuccarello, Hartman were out there for almost about 15 minutes a night tonight, and they were just outshot by like one shot. So they were about 50%. So they weren't creating more. They allowed a little bit more shots than they should have, but they weren't as dominant as you expected them to be tonight. And again, that's where I just go like, look, Zuccarello. There was a play, Judd, I think that really upset me. Actually, I think it was the first face-off after the final TV timeout, I believe, in the third period, where they win the draw, and then Matt's at the top of the point, just makes a turnover, and then here comes Vegas the other way, and then they got to reset. Like, Matt's just either get the puck deep or don't try to look for the sexy pass there, man. Like, for God's sakes, this is a big face-off. You have to figure out a way to get a shot on goal here. The game's in the line. That line didn't have the best. I thought they played very well in game one. I thought they were noticeably disappointing in game two tonight.
Yeah, and I think that's a credit to the Golden Knights as well. The Golden Knights definitely did something different against Kirill and that whole line that they didn't. Because what was the stat that we saw? I think Ryan Hartman in game one, I think he had, according to the NBC telecast, had 6 high scoring chances, 6 great scoring chances. So they definitely came back and combated that, but that allows Fiala more freedom probably. But then the question becomes, okay, can you get Fiala on a line that's going to get so? Yeah, I mean, there's definitely things that the Wild could do. I do think coming home, I do think having a last change starting on Thursday for 2 games is going to help. And I don't think Marc-Andre Fleury is going to be as good here as he was there. It doesn't mean he's not going to be good, but I don't think you're going to have him allowing 1 goal. And I really do. And I do think the Wild at the end of the night on Thursday has a 2-1 lead. So
yeah, I think they'll be favored in game 3. All right, let's go one more here. Let's wrap with Jason. Jason, what's up, buddy? You're not in a jail cell right now, are you? Where are you at right now?
No, I'm at work right now. I do security.
Okay. Awesome.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.
I was just going to bring up, I think some of the biggest things in the game 1 and game 2, different from like regular season that I saw, was just like during the regular season, they look like they're having so much fun out there. They're like their body language is all different. It looks like they just feel like they're under so much pressure. And I'm hoping that maybe they can kind of get back into, having fun and playing for each other. Like I know people are talking about, Kaprizov, Fiala, they're all stars. I'm just wondering if maybe Fiala's trying a little too hard to like do it on his own. I know people say like, well, his line doesn't have the talent that he does, but if they had the success in the regular season they did, I think, because they were playing with each other, playing for each other, standing up as a team, and it kind of feels like they're kind of breaking down a little bit. But I'm hoping they can kind of come back and start having fun again, because when you watch them having fun, they do really, really good.
Mm-hmm. I think Fiala, I think he looked at the situation in game 1 to his defense, and he said, if I don't do it by myself, it's not getting done. So I think that's why he tonight tried to take more control. Here's the thing, the playoffs, there's just more pressure. So like, I guess I don't agree that it doesn't seem like they're having as much fun. I don't think they're probably meant to have as much fun, but I also don't see the old school Wild pulling apart and no guidance out there. There's Koivu's the captain and he's doing his own thing. So I'm not down on them about that, but yeah, I would like to see the coaching staff find ways to get them more chances. And I do think that's possible. And I do think that leads to more fun, but there's just a natural inherent pressure that goes with the playoffs that you can't escape. I think that changes a little bit here, though. There's going to be pressure here because it's the home crowd, but there's also a nice thing about being in your own building. So I think to what you're saying, I think you'll see a little bit more of that back here on Thursday than we probably did there, just because you're home, the crowd's on your side. And I do think some of the shots that didn't go in tonight start to go in on Thursday.
For sure.
Good stuff, Jason, though. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jason.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Good luck at work for the rest of the night.
Yeah, see ya.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Sorry, Dex asked if you were in jail.
Well, I don't know. He looked like he was in a jail.
You work at security.
Well, maybe
he had a smile on his face.
That does not necessarily not confirm that he could not be working in a jail.
Listen, Declan, when's the last time a guy had a smile on his face and he was incarcerated? Okay,
yeah.
Like if Jason was in jail, he wouldn't be happy at all.
That's true.
He wouldn't be happy. Final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I'm glad my prophecy did not come true tonight. Honestly, I thought they were gonna get waxed, Judd. I thought they were gonna get waxed, and I won't say missed opportunity. I kind of felt like that a little bit when they forgot they only led for 18 seconds tonight. They finally get the first goal. They only lead for 18 seconds, and you definitely felt the momentum shift right after that. Right after they tied the game, you felt the shift right there. That was kind of a worst possible situation. I think even if the period trailed on for a few minutes longer, and let's say Vegas scores, and it's even 1-1 going in to the third, I think the third period plays out a little bit differently. Yep. But Fleury's dialed in right now, man. Fleury's one of the best goalies of all time, and if you're looking at it from the 30,000 foot view, you went in, you got at least one win, you're coming back home now. You can't really be too disappointed with how this goes. This is going to be a 6-7 game series. It's going to be probably a 6-7 game series.
And look, the goal is to at least win one, and they won one. What's funny is they won the one they probably shouldn't have won, and they lost the one they probably shouldn't have lost. But yeah, and they are. I guess my takeaway from these first two games is I come away from these two games feeling pretty optimistic about what I saw. I don't feel that a lot of the old things that were bugaboos with this team for a long time when it came to the playoffs are problems. I'd like to see some more creative things from the coaching staff. I do think things could be changed up a bit, but all of that being said, what I have wanted to see for the most part happened. Greenway showed up for 2 games. Dumba, not especially good in game 1, and by the way, had not played well late in the season. Matthew Dumba tonight was, I thought, for him, good. Some bad passes, I get that, but that's him. And most importantly, here's the key takeaway. 2 games. I have not seen the Wild's goaltending not be that good. Or I did not say, Cam Talbot won game 1, Fleury won game 2. But you know what? That's okay. The problem would be is if the discussion right now was, well, they're coming back to Minnesota down 0-2 because Marc-Andre Fleury won game 1, and he won game 2. And that, in the playoffs at this time of year, that's the most important thing. If we're talking about, well, Cam Talbot played okay, but Marc-Andre Fleury's incredible, that's a problem. The other thing is, I think the Wild had the right idea tonight, especially first period, of trying to score greasy goals that they didn't get. And I think when you're at home on Thursday night, not a lot of them, but some of those pucks will get past Fleury. And if they do, it's a different game. So I sports dad here, late night, I'm pretty encouraged.
Yeah. Which is rare for you. You don't say that a lot.
I don't say that a lot because it's not worth saying a lot in this town.
And even if you've had a few beers and it's late night, there might be a little bit extra confidence in your step. I still think you don't change. Even the brief times
I get more surly if I have more beers.
Pun intended.
No, because if I'm Derek Falvey, I'm on the phone right this moment trying to trade Miguel Sano. I get more negative, not more positive. But in this case, look, this has been the season of the different. They are the new Wild. Okay, yep, they are the new. They're not the old. Mm-hmm. The past 19 years are in the old school Timberwolves garbage can right by my desk here. Okay, they're in this garbage can because this is a new team, and we see things. They're not perfect, and they are not a finished product. And I'm still saying the Golden Knights in 6. But that being said, I think there's enough things that we're seeing to be very positive and confident with the direction here. And that's what happens when you have a coach or a GM, I should say, who has won 2 Stanley Cups as a player, was a captain, and won 2 Stanley Cups as an executive. Not the same old, same old.
It's very impressive. Very impressive. For everyone joining us tonight, thank you. Thank you, by the way, for hanging out. It's almost 1 a.m. Central Time here. I can't even imagine if you're on East Coast.
10 people. Yeah. 10 people joined us, and we really appreciate it. Yeah. Your support has been fantastic, and let's do it again on Thursday night, technically.
Absolutely, yeah. No, we'll be doing it again. Judd will be live at the arena. I'm going to be back here drinking seltzers, ready to be rocking. Judd will be, a couple Dasani waters in, I think, at the XL Energy Center. He'll be ready to go there. If you haven't, hit our or Ice Mountain, whatever it is. Water. Judd will be Waters in. I will be seltzers in. You can actually make the case Waters, seltzers, maybe the same thing. But I don't want to throw shade at my own self here. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel at Score North MN. We'll be bringing you some wild content. We'll also bring you Timberwolves, Twins, Vikings, even sometimes some action movie reviews or sports movie reviews. We got some goofy stuff on our YouTube content, and also on our Purple Daily podcast. Predator's coming up.
I watched it yesterday.
You watched yesterday. I'm going to have to watch tomorrow since the Wild game's on Thursday. Yeah, I'm going to have to watch tomorrow. I'm excited to watch. We'll have some Predator. We'll be ready to go. We're the only show that brings you on the screen with us post-game Wild show. So we'll be doing this again all series long and hopefully for a lengthy post-season run. So
I hope I'm wrong. I hope my prediction is very wrong. I hope they get to the second round at least. All right, Declan, do your thing.